to me the nameplate?
Judge Eboni K. Williams.
So the only thing that matters in this particular courtroom is how I see it. I am from North Carolina by way of Louisiana with some West Coast cool and a New York edge. Do we have a problem, ma'am?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Equal justice is all about the most important values of our country: freedom, integrity, and those are the things that I'm striving for. Ma'am, you run your household, this man gets to run his. I decided to become an attorney and pursue the law. I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. This court cannot hold this woman accountable. People from all sectors of life, black, white, purple, gay, straight, queer, and that's what equal justice with Judge Eboni K. Williams is all about.
Katrina Dennison claims she ended up in legal hot water after her friend smoked pot in her car without permission. Leslie Willis says that it's Miss Dennison's fault they got pulled over in the first place.
Ms. Dennison, why are you in court today?
I'm here because I would like to recoup $800 that I had to pay for possession of marijuana in Dallas, Texas, because Leslie Willis has smoked in my car without my permission.
Okay, talk a little bit about how you know Miss Willis.
I am originally from Dallas, Texas, but I've been living in Los Angeles for the past 5 years. Me and Leslie became fast friends, bonding over vintage fashion, furniture, and weed, marijuana, 420 culture. So
Cannabis. Okay.
We would hang out and bond like that, and I would like to invite some of my friends back to Dallas occasionally to show them Texas culture and give them the experience.
Yeah, sure.
I was very specific about, hey, it's not California. We can't do like we do in LA. We have weed all the time with us because California is way more lenient. You know, I've been smoking weed before it was socially and medically accepted, and I assume she was too.
Well, let's talk about your relationship with marijuana, Ms. Dennison. When did it start?
A little after high school. An ex-boyfriend of mine introduced it to me, and
so you
I just enjoyed it.
You partake in the puff puff and the pass.
Yes.
Okay, and then that's a part of the bonding and the friendship between Miss Willis. Okay, let's talk to you, Miss Willis, for a second. Talk about how you met and befriended this young lady and how marijuana was a part of the kinship.
Yeah, so we both have a love for vintage furniture, clothing. We met while shopping. Found out that we both partake. And
partake in what?
Marijuana.
Oh, okay. Just making sure we're talking about the same thing.
Yes, marijuana.
Okay. People to partake in several different things. Okay, so marijuana is part of the culture and the friendship. Very common, frankly, here on the West Coast, specifically in California, where I believe marijuana has been legal medically, I think, over 10 years. It's been a very long time, and recreationally now as well. Okay, so all good on the letter of the law in this state. But now let's talk, let me go to you, Ms. Dennison. Tell me about how y'all got to Texas.
I invited her for a 3-day weekend to stay at my parents' house and have some fun in Dallas, Texas. I was thorough. I told her, we are not in California. We need to be discreet in what we're doing. So the first day we arrived there, we're taking smoke breaks. We're in my parents' backyard, having a good time, or we may dabble in marijuana at a friend's house. Closed doors, not while we're traveling, not while we're doing anything. The second day, we go to the club, and they're smoking hookah in there, and she wants to spark up a joint while we're enjoying
in public?
In public, yes, in Texas.
Okay.
But I tell her the marijuana smoke is going to smell different than the hookah smoke, and I'm not trying to bring any attention. I don't want any issues. So she decides to go out.
Ms. Dennison, let me stop you. You know marijuana is not legal in the state of Texas.
I do know. I'm very
under
much
any conditions. You know that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you convey that to your friend?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Continue.
So I expressed to her, we are already breaking the law by smoking and enjoying in general, but however, if we're going to do it, we need to be discreet. She decides to go out.
So the word you used was discreet.
Discreet.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
She goes outside and enjoys herself. I don't join her, and I was trying to tell her that there are racial tensions. We don't want to bring attention to us with the police because our experiences are a bit different. I'm telling her, like, we don't need unwanted, unnecessary attention. She feels like I'm trying to control her and belittle her or like monitor her, and I'm like, that's not necessarily the case. I just don't want any attention because we know that it's illegal out here. We just want to have a good time. It's a fun
And did you
weekend.
explain, Ms. Dennison, as you're talking about the discrepancies in which the two of you will be handled by the police, which is not your opinion or mine, that's what the FBI and the data show, is that there is a disparaging treatment at the hands of people of color when it comes to law enforcement. Are you aware of this, Ms. Willis?
It has come up several times in our conversations previously.
Okay.
To the point where I felt like I was to be made guilty just for
Being white.
being born white.
Okay,
Yes.
I
something
understand. Let's get back to the marijuana. So you tell your friend, be discreet. Let's get to you, Ms. Willis. How did you interpret discretion?
I figured if we could just go in the back, do a few puffs together, like we always do.
This is
no
in the
big deal.
club. This is in a public venue. You want to
Well,
go
we were
to the
gonna-
back.
Yeah, people were smoking cigars, doing hookah. I doubt anyone would have noticed the difference.
Okay, but you do know that hookah and cigars and tobacco are all different aromas, we'll use that term, than that of marijuana.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
He did smell some marijuana in the air, and I had us step out.
And he performed a search on your person?
He did.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. Closed captioning provided by. This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with the case of Katrina Dennison, who blames Leslie Willis for their drug possession citations.
You do know that?
Yes, Your
You know
Honor.
that marijuana smells a very particular, I think everybody in this courtroom knows the very particular aroma and fragrance of marijuana.
Yes, I thought maybe outside it would be okay.
Were you high when you thought that?
Well, not yet.
Okay, you had to think about it though, right? Okay. All right, so you thought it would be a very good idea for you and your black friend in Texas to stand in the back of a public venue and break the law in plain sight. That's what you're telling me?
She hadn't
That-
raised that
Are you
in
going
that way.
to answer my question, Ms. Willis?
Yes,
You
Your
thought
Honor.
that was a good idea?
I guess I hadn't considered that
Okay.
implication of it, but
Okay, I appreciate your candor. Okay, Ms. Dennison, so you declined to take this public smoke break with your friend. Then what happens?
Okay, we get back home. We had our issue. I was like, that can't happen again. The next day, day 3 of our trip, we go to the spa. We had a good time.
Very
It was
nice.
very relaxing. We actually were able to kind of make amends over that. And we're on our way home, and we're about 15 minutes away from my parents' house, and she's like, hey, I really just want to relax. I want to take a few puffs of the joint. I'll roll the windows down. We can open the sunroof. It'll be cool. No one will notice. It'll be fine. I'm telling her, I typically don't smoke in the car. I don't smoke on the ride to places like we would do in California, specifically because I don't want to bring that attention to myself. If we are going to do it, again, we need to be in someone's home, in their backyard, or if I do smoke in the car, I'm parked like right in front of my parents' house, and it's like very quick. Not to make excuses, but that's usually how I do. I don't do it while we're driving. So we're kind of going back and forth, and she's trying to negotiate with me. I'm a little annoyed. I make a left turn, and I hear sirens. We get pulled over. So I'm starting to roll down my window. I grab my perfume. We're trying to spray, blah, blah, blah.
So at this point, she was already smoking, Ms. Dennison?
Yeah, she had already taken a few puffs. Literally, she was,
During the negotiation?
yes, she
Okay.
had decided to go ahead and spark it up really
can
quick.
I say I was feeling very nauseous. I
She did
sometimes
mention that.
smoked medicinally
Medicinally.
to help with my anxiety. I was feeling anxious.
Okay.
Anxious,
I wanted
but
to be able to sleep when we got back.
Okay,
and
do you
so
have
it
a
helps me
prescription,
sleep.
Ms. Willis?
I don't because it's just legal in LA, so that's what I'm used to.
Right, but when you decided to smoke during the negotiation on the street, were you in LA?
No, I
No,
wasn't.
you were, where were you?
We were in Texas.
You were in Texas, okay. And you do know the law in Texas, right?
I
'Cause
was
this is
still getting
important.
familiar with it, but yes.
Okay, did you have an understanding, Ms. Willis, that it is illegal to smoke marijuana or partake in cannabis use in any way in Texas?
Yes, but at this point we had both been partaking in Texas.
Okay, but you did know. Okay, continue, Ms. Dennison. You make this left, you hear sirens.
Yes, the cop pulls us over and tells me I didn't use my left light indicator, but he smelled marijuana in the air and asked us to step out of the car. He searches and he finds both of us in possession of marijuana. One was in my purse and he found some in her possession as well.
Okay, and what was the baggies, joint, what are we talking about?
Yeah, it was a small bag of marijuana that I keep in a nice little velvet knapsack inside of my purse. I had planned
Was it
to...
a Crown Royal bag?
No.
You
Something
say
I keep
velvet,
jewelry
you know,
in.
when you say velvet in your
No,
purse,
Crown Royal is a little...
it's giving Crown Royal vibes, Miss Dennison.
Yes.
Okay.
Similar but smaller.
Okay, all right.
I was prepared to...
Airplane bottle? Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Okay.
I was prepared to enjoy it once we got home because literally we're like down the street quite a bit of distance, but not too far away from home. So it was kind of...
So yours was in your purse, not consumed at the time?
Not consumed.
And
no.
where was yours, Miss Willa, when the cop pulled you over?
I keep mine in my makeup bag, in a little
Okay.
baggie, kind of tucked away.
Okay, but you also had a joint, right?
I also, yeah.
What did you do with the joint when the cop approached?
Well, I have it pretty tucked into my makeup bag, so I left it there and I tried to talk to the cop a little bit to maybe like
And say what?
ease the tension a little
Okay,
bit because
okay.
after he pulled us
What
over,
did you say to the cop, Miss Willis? The court is curious.
I asked him how his evening was going, just to kind of try to
You
humanize
tried to sweet
it.
talk the cop a
A
little bit?
little bit.
Okay, did it work?
It usually goes over pretty well in LA, but
Okay, so we're seeing a theme. Right? We're starting to see a theme, Mr. Bailiff, right?
Totally different.
The stuff that works in LA don't quite hit the same in Texas.
Not in Texas.
I think we're seeing that theme. Okay, Miss Willis, so that doesn't work. What happens next?
So she, I've noticed, was being very blunt and kind of curt with the cop, which I think was irritating him quite a bit. And I just wanted her to kind of join with me to kind of maybe get out of this and maybe
But then
a
what
warning.
happened? What did the cop say to you ultimately, Miss Willis?
He told us why he pulled us over. He said he noticed
She
we
failed
didn't
to
use-
signal. Okay.
Yeah, failed to signal.
Okay.
And then he did smell some marijuana in the air, and I had us step out.
He performed a search on your person?
He did.
Coming up on Equal Justice.
And your final words?
Yes, we wouldn't have been pulled over in the first place if she had been a considerate driver and used her left turn signal.
Did you say considerate?
Yeah, just to let people know that, and the law.
Okay. Well, aren't we formal, Miss Willis?
Closed captioning provided by. This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with the case of Katrina Dennison, who blames Leslie Willis for their drug possession citations.
And what did he find?
He found, I'm sure, her joint that she had tried to hurriedly put out and my stash.
Okay. And so you were both, what, cited?
Yeah, we were thankfully only ticketed, but
Okay.
we both had possession of marijuana. It was $800
For each or
for each, and then I also was ticketed for, of
for
course,
the
failing
failure
to signal.
Okay, let me see what the citations look like. Go ahead and proffer that up to my bailiff,
She took
ma'am.
everything? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So this is the traffic violation. This is the failure to signal prior to a turn. You needed to account for this. Have you taken care of this citation, ma'am?
I've taken care of both of them.
Okay. And then this is the possession of marijuana. You know, you're fortunate, as you know, you could have been arrested
Yes,
for the marijuana.
yes,
Okay.
I'm very aware.
So you were only cited and you took care of this $800 ticket. It does say ticket paid.
Yes.
Actually, they both do. Okay, great. What about you, Miss Willis? Do you have your citation?
I do.
Offer that to my bailiff, please, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
This says your ticket has also been paid, and this is great. Okay,
Yes, Your Honor.
so you are asking for her to pay your marijuana citation at
Yes.
the tune of $800.
Yes,
Tell the court the reasoning.
because had the officer not smelled marijuana in the air, he probably wouldn't have the suspicion of marijuana being in the car. I probably could have gotten off with a warning for not using my signal or just been ticketed for the not using my signal.
Okay, and your final words?
Yes, we wouldn't have been pulled over in the first place if she had been a considerate driver and used her left turn signal.
Did you say considerate?
Yeah, just to let people know that, and the law.
Okay. Well, aren't we formal, Miss Willis?
Coming up on Equal Justice.
Y'all let the weed come between y'all's friendship. The very thing that brought y'all together.
Closed captioning provided by. This is Equal Justice. Equal Justice is back with the case of Katrina Dennison, who blames Leslie Willis for their drug possession citations.
Continue.
Yeah, so I don't believe that I should also have to pay her citation when I was given the same ticket. I also paid mine.
But I wouldn't have
already.
gotten ticketed. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Dennison, I know how to analyze facts in my courtroom. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, I don't believe it's my fault to be having to pay her ticket on top of mine for the same violation.
Okay, the court's heard enough from you two ladies. Let's get to it. You two are y'all still friends?
No.
Your Honor.
Y'all let the weed come between y'all's friendship. The very thing that brought y'all together. Ain't that something, Mr. Baylor? I'm just not putting that together. Dang. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Dennison.
I wouldn't say it was the weed, it was the citation for the weed. But
Okay.
yes.
Well, that's a little semantics, right? Okay. Now, I hear you, Ms. Dennison. You feel, and you're making the argument, that but for the defendant's willful and wanton use of marijuana knowingly in a jurisdiction that does not provide it to be legally consumed, you don't feel you would have gotten a citation for marijuana in the first place.
Yes.
But you, Ms. Willis, are making the argument that but for her breaking a traffic violation, y'all would not have been pulled over to begin with. Thus,
Yes.
neither of you conceivably would have gotten cited for the marijuana.
Yes, Your Honor.
But here's where you're both missing it. You have both participated in the contributory wrongdoing that have caused both of your mutual citations. And I need you young ladies to hear that. The law does not care about what happens in California when it's operating in Texas.
Judge Eboni's verdict when Equal Justice returns. Promotional consideration provided by. This is Equal Justice.
Ms. Willis, when you chose to go to Texas with your friend, and she told you the laws of Texas, and you both on your own accords at different points in time chose to violate, and let's be clear, I'm not going to sit here and play this game with you, Ms. Dennison. Just because you were not smoking at the exact time in the car, you still were what? In possession in your home state, which you knew better to do. And yet you, young lady, wanted to get real big, bold, black, bad, and bravado and smoke in broad daylight. So this is what I'm going to do. The court is going to find in favor of you, Ms. Dennison, but not for your full amount. You're going to have to eat half of that on the chin, because had you not been in illegal possession of marijuana, you, young lady, might not have had to carry that possession violation to begin with. And this woman is right. You also made a willful citation violation by failing to signal. So had you not been in possession, I would have ruled totally in favor of you. But that little dime bag, that little Crown Royal bag, whatever you had in your purse, that's why you're going to pay $400 towards your own citation. That's my ruling.
Judge Eboni has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $400.
I feel like justice was served. I feel like you still should have paid the whole $800, but it is what it is.
I don't believe I should have to pay any of it. I made my case. You were in possession. That's what the ticket was for.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.